Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, June the 30th. We're getting a little late start here, and I've just had a fairly lengthy discussion with the Attorney General, Patrick Morrissey, and lots of congratulations, and I'll get to all that in just a minute. But first of all, let me just say just this: these COVID briefings are just that. There's a lot of news that we've got to address, and we surely report during them, but at the same time, we want to always remember those that we've lost. We've lost 7 additional people since we were here the last time, and I ask again and over for your prayers. I ask if you know these people to call them, at least call them and everything. And if you don't, send up many prayers. They'll know it. They'll know it. But the 7,058th death in West Virginia is a 99-year-old male from Wood County. The 7,059th death is an 83-year-old female from Nicholas County. The 7,060th death is a 71-year-old male from Pleasants County. The 7,061st death is a 94-year-old female from Wood County. The 7,062nd death is an 82-year-old female from Cabell County. The 7,063rd death is an 88-year-old female from Pleasants County. And the 7,064th death in West Virginia is a 96-year-old female from Ohio County. In regard to our numbers today, we have 2,105 active cases in West Virginia, 660 new positive cases. Our daily positivity rate is at 6.61. Our cumulative rate is at 8.16. Recovered cases in West Virginia are 523,334. We have 220 folks that are hospitalized in West Virginia with COVID, 26 in the ICU units and 4 on ventilators. And all of our counties remain green and yellow. But as you can see, from 2,100 active cases in West Virginia, 220 that are hospitalized, 660 folks that are new positive cases in the last 24 hours, this thing's not gone away. And absolutely, we can make it go away. The more that are vaccinated, the less problem that we're going to have. And I'll get to that more in just a second. I want to jump back, just for 1 second, to my conversation that I just had with the Attorney General, because this is really big news. First of all, the Supreme Court just, passed down a ruling, primarily regarding EPA, but it really focused on all these governmental agencies that, where D.C., where Washington, D.C. has so much overreach, and really basically, here's what was said. First of all, like I just said just a second ago, I applaud the Supreme Court because this has been long overdue. This ruling in favor of West Virginia will stop unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. from being able to unilaterally decarbonize our economy just because they feel like it, just because it's their opinion. Instead, members of Congress who have been duly elected to represent the will of the people across all of America will now be allowed to have their rightful say when it comes to balancing our desire for a clean environment with our need for energy and the security it provides. People like to say D.C. has too much power, and they're right. They're exactly right. You see what goes on within D.C. Do you want those people with unlimited power? I mean, good gracious, look at what's going on in D.C. today. For too long, our federal bureaucracy has had almost unlimited, unchecked power over us with little accountability to the public. Agencies shouldn't get to make unilateral decisions affecting all the lives of all of us without Congress's vote. Now, my feelings are real simple. many, many accolades should be passed toward Patrick Morrissey and all the folks that took on this battle. I think 9 years ago, they took on this battle. Again, West Virginia rose right to the forefront. I have been as supportive as anybody could be on this planet. Absolutely, this is a milestone. This is absolutely an accomplishment that is unprecedented, and we should all applaud and thank our Supreme Court for making a rational, logic, and reasonable decisions as to what should go on in D.C. So Patrick, great job, great job. Very, very, very proud, and a great moment for West Virginia. Now, in just speaking with Patrick, as well, on the abortion issue, we talked a lot about the enforcement of our laws that are on the books. Our laws have been on the books since the 1800s. We talked about all the different things and the possibilities of are we going to have to address this right now? Are the courts, the local courts, are we going to have to address this right now? How much time do we have? And Patrick believes, and I believe from him. He is basically our attorney for our state. He is to represent me. And with all that being said and everything, absolutely, I believe now that I agree wholeheartedly that we need to move faster and we need to move for further and more detailed clarification. The legislature needs to amend this law to get absolute clarification in every way. And so as I promised in my original statement that I would not hesitate to call a special session once I got rock solid information and evidence as to what we should do. You see, I'm the guy that says so many times, if the rattlesnake's over there and it can't hurt you, look left, look right, and look behind you and plot the course on the way to go. Well, that's what I've done. I've looked left, I've looked right, and I've looked behind. I've taken all the knowledge and information that I could take from legislatures as well as our Attorney General, and now we need to go. So what I'm doing now is I'm telling everyone that I will call a special session, and I will call it very, very, very soon. I am asking our legislatures to all get their stuff in order. Get their stuff in order as to what ways they want to go. And absolutely, I'm asking the leadership to guide and direct them in every way. So nevertheless, that's where we're moving. We're going to call a special session very, very, very soon. I want to be respectful of people's time, and so we really need to have a little bit of discussion with the leadership as to when the soonest that we can possibly move in that direction and get that done. Now, if I could kind of jump back, I'm going to read this whole thing, and the reason I'm going to read it is it pertains to our National Guard and the incredible job that they've done. I mean, if you just step back and just think about this. Think about me sitting with the powers to be and making the decision to call off the state girls basketball tournament. And then it was schools. And then it was shutting down businesses. And then it was reopening businesses. Then it was, getting our nursing homes, vaccinated. And 1,000 decisions along the way. In every step, our National Guard was there helping us every way. So that's why I'm going to read this, because it's really, really important. But today I'm announcing that I have authorized the activation of 60 West Virginia National Guard personnel to state active duty status. They will continue COVID-19 support around the Mountain State through September of 2022. The official COVID response mission will come to a close on July 1st, making it in West Virginia the longest federal mission that we've ever done. Following a large drawdown of troops in March of this year, the West Virginia National Guard COVID mission moved predominantly to transporting and delivering supplies around the state, including protective gear and testing supplies. Moving forward, the task force will be closing out the 2-year mission, completing necessary checks and balances. Since the beginning of the pandemic response, the National Guard has been under the command and control of their state's respective governors, but funded 100% by the Department of Defense. And that's going to change. That's going to change to a 90% possible funding from FEMA. The West Virginia National Guard has been mobilized since March of 2020 to assist the state of West Virginia in the COVID pandemic response. Since that time, the National Guard has, and I want you to really pay close attention to this, supported 5,779 COVID-19 testing lanes for more than 100,000 citizens, supported 11,187 COVID-19 vaccination lanes, supported, one more time, 11,187 COVID-19 vaccination lanes. It's unbelievable. Conducted 146,568 data entries for contact tracing with local health departments. Completed 5,194 delivery missions for personal protective equipment and supplies to all 55 counties in West Virginia. Disinfected 644 vehicles and 365 facilities, and supported 37 hospitals with long-term care facilities in 26 different counties. Joining us today, General Crane. Absolutely, the National Guard in this state needs to be thanked and loved and appreciated forever. They did an unbelievable job, and they continue to do that every day. General, come on and talk to us.
Well, Governor, first of all, thanks for those kind words, and absolutely incredible folks that we have, that service members in both the Army and the Air Guard, and what an incredible job they have done over the last 2.5 years, and will continue to do so. You know, one of the things, I know there was a question at the last brief about vaccinations for the National Guard. You know, I want everybody to realize we're at 95% overall in the National Guard of receiving the mandatory vaccinations that the Department of Defense have directed us to do. And so we continue to be prepared and ready to respond to whatever it is that you may need us to do, Governor, or whatever the state citizens may need us to do. So again, we're always ready. We're always making sure that we're continuing to work to get folks to get vaccinated that haven't been yet in the Guard. Some of them are looking forward to maybe the Novavax getting approved, and they are willing to take that, and that will help our numbers even go higher. So, you know, I just want to make sure that everybody realizes we're not going to have any issues responding to any events that may come up. And so again, look forward to any questions we may have in that regard. Governor, I also like to say, you know, it's quite a loss that the state has had with Woody Williams passing. And we've got some folks down working with Secretary Diaz and Commissioner Reed, and making sure that we give him the honors that he's deserving of as a national treasure and a West Virginia hero. And sir, with that, I'll turn it back to you.
No, sir. Thank you again, and I couldn't concur with you more about Woody Williams. I'll be talking about him in just one second, but General, what a job! What an incredible job! It's been a real honor. It's been a real honor standing side by side with you all the way through this, and I thank all those in the Guard. Way to go! Let me jump back to this from the standpoint of our booster shots. You know, your second booster shot, you know, which is your fourth shot really, you know, and and all the information in regard to that. All I can do is continue to encourage in every way, tell everyone over and over that if you're out 6 months or 4 months or whatever is the period, you don't have any immunity. You went to all the trouble to being vaccinated and getting your second shot, whether it was Moderna or Pfizer. You went to all that trouble to get that done and everything. How in the world can you stand on the sidelines when I just told you, that there's 2,000 or 2,100 active cases right now in West Virginia, 220 people that are hospitalized, and on and on and on, and this thing is still with us? How can you run the risk? Just simply, especially if you're 50 and older, how can you possibly run the risk of walking around with no immunity at all and thinking you're not going to get this? Really and truly, I go back to a fellow that works for our family. I knew he had COVID. He got better. I ran into him. He's tough as nails, 70 years old, been with us a long, long, long time. And I mean, this guy is tough. His family, and he's from Minnehaha Springs, right in Pocahontas County. And this is the toughest of the toughest guy. And his very words to me were just this. He said, I got vaccinated, but really when it came to that booster shot, I just didn't really get around to getting it and everything. And I really thought, well, if I get this, it won't be anything bad. And I'm telling you, I was in the run for my life. And this was really, really, really bad and really tough. And I always thought that I was so tough that there's no way that anything could get me like this, but it did. Now, thank God he's doing well and all that's good. But really and truly, when it really boils right down to it, you got to get your booster shots. Okay, the vaccine calculator, we've told you about that and how to get registered and through all that. Take advantage, please. All the COVID vaccine info line is up on the website. Free testing information is up. 71 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities, none in our church communities, 53 inmate cases, 25 staff cases. I've told you 1,000 times about the rental assistance program and the homeowner assistance program. Please take advantage. Try to get registered here or at least call in and see if you can qualify. I've asked you 1,000,000 times about giving blood. It is so, so, so important. Now, if I could talk about Woody Williams, this, you see a lot of people in your life and you're amazed. You're amazed by what they do. You're amazed by their accomplishments throughout their life. And then you sit back and you see somebody that is extraordinary beyond belief. The last recipient of the Medal of Honor from World War II. And what this man did on the level of bravery was off the chart. How many of us could have even approached that level of courage? Very, very few. Very few. But then what did he do? He spent a life for our Gold Star families. He spent a life going all across this nation doing work like you can't imagine. He spoke with the most eloquent style. It was so amazing to listen to him. Here was a man 90 plus years old that could get up and speak far, far better than most any of us could on any day. He was blessed. He had an incredible life. And for his family, it gives me unbelievable honor to say that I knew Woody. I knew him really well. I was a real friend with Woody. And I treasured the friendship that he gave me. And I'll never forget. I'll never forget all the times. I'll never forget how when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, was coming, actually he came to the Greenbrier Hotel many different times. He came to West Virginia, but on this particular occasion, he came to the Greenbrier. And he spoke. It was right before the golf tournament at the Greenbrier. And he spoke. But Woody Williams got up prior to that, and spoke, and you could feel the hush all over the entire room. You talk about someone that could take the air out of the room. Woody Williams surely could. And with all of that, we'll miss him. He was absolutely, without question, a true American hero. But I was really honored prior to his death to tell all the people there that we would conduct the celebration of his life in the biggest way that the state could possibly offer. 98 years old, an American hero beyond belief, but absolutely we're going to call him our own forevermore. A West Virginia hero that made us all really proud. So Woody, will really miss you, but absolutely, without any question, we thank you, and we thank his great family. Today, I'm also issuing a proclamation ordering that all United States and West Virginia flags on all state-owned facilities be displayed at half-staff, beginning immediately and continuing through sunset on Monday, July 4th, in honor and remembrance of this great man, Woody Williams. Today, I am also honored to announce that I am officially nominating Woody Williams to be the first ever inductee into the West Virginia Military Hall of Fame. My nomination has been sent to the West Virginia Department of Veterans Assistance. The West Virginia Veterans Council will meet today and vote on this nomination. The West Virginia Military Hall of Fame was created in 2022 on the vision of the state legislature, and it honors those veterans from West Virginia who went above and beyond the call of duty on the battlefield and who continued to distinguish themselves in service after their return to the state. They have contributed unbelievably to the state of West Virginia and to our veteran community, and what they've given all of us is unflat believable. So nevertheless, Woody Williams will be our first inductee. And I absolutely am very, very proud, very proud. All the details about Woody's funeral, we don't really know exactly everything, and we don't have it all put together right yet and everything. The family, I think, is visiting with us, or we're going to be in contact with them. You know, we've been in contact with them all along in many ways and everything, but we're going to get more details, and my office will release all the details as soon as the family sorts out exactly what they want to do. July 4th, Monday, our nation's holiday, our nation's birthday. You know, a day to celebrate our independence. You know, a day really and truly that we should take time to thank all those that helped us and made this nation who we are. Who am I referring to primarily? I'm referring to our veterans, or those that are active military today. You know, I ask you in every way, if you see a veteran out, if you see someone that you know has been in the military, please take time to just go up and thank them. Especially if you see one that is a person that's in the active military today, go take time to thank them. We owe every single thing we have in life. I don't know how many times I've got to say that. Every single thing we have as Americans, we owe to these people. That's all there is to it. I don't know how I can say it any better than just this. We need to keep their memories alive, because when the world was at its darkest hour, they were our shining light. and there's no question about that in any way. I remind everybody is we have 3 agencies, the Alcohol Control Administration, the DNR Police, and the State Fire Marshal Office, and they ask us every year over the 4th of July, be really, really careful. Be especially careful with alcohol consumption and, and driving a boat, driving a car, or whatever it may be. It's a time of celebration. There's no question. We want you to have the greatest and the most fun you can possibly have, but be really careful. Be really, really, really careful. We're going to have an announcement today at 1:30. It is about the second highway. It's going to be called the Capitol Circle. We're going to have a bunch of riders, from motorcycles or fancy cars that'll be out here. And the route starts at the Capitol. Let me get this straight. The route takes riders on a journey through just over 200 miles of all through our Metro Valley and all through and all along the New River for Greenbrier Valley, and returns back here. So nevertheless, it is it's the second of these that have been put together by our DNR and our Department of Tourism and our Highway Department. And basically what it does, it is another stepping stone to be able to advertise and bring folks to West Virginia and put them on these routes. The first one, I think, started right outside of Lewisburg, and it went all the way up through Marlington and went all the way, I think, to Seneca Rocks and came back down Route 92 and ended in White Sulphur Springs. Now, this is the second one, and the Highway Department is doing incredible work. Tourism's doing incredible work, and it's just good stuff. So if you can join us, we're going to be doing that right outside of the Capitol at 1:30. Last thing I've got is on Wednesday, July 6th, we'll have the numbers down pat, and we'll be able to announce the most record-setting numbers in regard to revenue that this state has ever seen, hands down. It will be a day that we should celebrate, and we'll give you more details, but we're going to have an announcement that I hope that everyone will dial into and everything on July 6th. But that's all I got right now. Nevertheless, thank you.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to retired Major General Jim Hoyer, the director of our Joint Interagency Task Force.
Good morning. As the governor reinforced earlier, we are not completely out of COVID, so we need to continue to focus on the things that we need to do. As he pointed out, our hospital numbers have gone back up above 200. They are manageable at this point, but we continue to watch them closely. Our RT value has gone back up to 1 again, so we continue to watch that as well. Again, remember that 6 months to 5 years old are now eligible for vaccine. The data for those numbers of vaccinations, the way they're being pulled by the CDC and sent to us, will be coming in a little bit slower, but the data analytics team with DHHR and West Virginia University are working those, and we should have some data later next week regarding that. As was pointed out by Dr. McBride from Cardinal Pediatrics when she was on with the governor last, pediatricians and healthcare providers are prepared and ready to give vaccines to our younger West Virginia population. So parents, guardians, caregivers need to be reaching out to those individuals. We now have Moderna vaccines available for children ages 6 through 17. Our vaccine calculator has been updated to reflect the latest changes, and we've had over 400,000 West Virginians complete calculations on that. If you have a challenge in finding a vaccine, please again reach out to our hotline, 1-833-734-0965. Thanks to John Lopez and the team at DHHR. They do a terrific job of working with individuals to address questions and get those questions to the right people to address for them. Again, as the governor pointed out, we've still got to keep our eye on this and continue to focus on it. And then the last thing I'd leave you with is from my family, from Amy and I, to Woody Williams' family and his close personal friends. We send our love, our thoughts and prayers. Woody is a lot more than just those gallant actions at Iwo Jima. Woody was a role model for all of us about how much he cared and loved every person that he came across that was a West Virginian or an American, no matter who they were. He was focused on helping people. God bless Woody's family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Adjutant General Crane, Dr. Ein Amjad, and Secretary Bill Crouch are also joining us today and are available for questions. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media. Mark, you're muted. All right, Mark, while you sort out your technical issues there, we'll go on to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, y'all. This is Charles Young with WV News. I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about the way the ending of the Guard's, formal COVID mission will impact our ability to use them to backstop the hospitals. If and when we do see another fall and then winter surge, as General Hoyer said, I think we're, nearly at the halfway point of the 500 benchmark that we talked about previously. You just talk about how the ending of the Guard's mission would impact that. Thank you.
General, maybe I think you can answer this better than anyone, but the bottom line, the whole thing is the National Guard is always going to stand ready. They're always going to be ready to serve. And we've seen it on we pushed them to the limit and then some, and they performed. That's all there is to it. So General, please go.
Yeah, Governor. So just like you just said, I mean, we're always going to be ready. We're always prepared to step up and do the missions required. And then one thing I would think is really interesting is as we've had service members in those hospitals, they've actually started hiring some of our service members because this is a 1 weekend a month, two weeks in the summer obligation. And so a lot of them have been starting to take those full-time positions within those hospitals because they found that it's a location of service just like it is when you're in the uniform. So they're there serving in those hospitals and continue to do that in a full-time capacity. So I think we're always going to be ready, as the governor said, and so whatever the needs might be.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next, Mark Curtis, are you ready?
I've got audio. I figured it out. I'm technologically challenged. Hey, first, let me join the chorus of voices paying tribute to Woody Williams. As a military parent, Woody gave me a lot of guidance on how to be a supportive military parent, as has General Hoyer, General Crane, and Secretary of Veterans Affairs Ted Diaz. I treasure all of you and your advice to me and my family very much, but I especially will always treasure Woody Williams' guidance and words for my daughter. So God bless him. Governor, I want to talk about the EPA ruling, if I could, and its impact. What do you think the impact will be? Will this cause coal production to ramp up in West Virginia? Will it cause maybe an increase in usage of the coal-fired power plants? I'm trying to get a guesstimate on, the potential economic impact this could have to this state.
Well, Mark, let me just say just this. I know a lot about the coal business, an awful lot. Rulings, whether they be Obama's war on coal or rulings such as this, the rightness of this ruling is absolutely off the chart. from the standpoint of what will happen economically within West Virginia as far as our coal production, you got to remember just one thing and one thing alone. Market drives that production first and foremost. Now, with all that, all the rules and regulations and everything can surely hold us back and hold us back in many ways. Okay, so let's just take exactly what I just said. Market's unbelievable, isn't it? The market is really, really, really strong. With all of that being said, now, and the great part about West Virginia's coal was always relied on from the standpoint of being high BTUs, low sulfur, clean coal. Now, what we managed to do in this country was we managed to be able to find a way that we could bring coal from the West, which is much, much, much lower BTUs, or maybe coal from Illinois that's much, much, much higher in sulfur, and we could find a way that the power plants of the East could still use that coal. And it completely devastated our miners and our economies in many ways in West Virginia. Now, the reason for that is just as simple as this. You're mining coal that is an 80 or 120 foot seam in Wyoming, with a drag line. One guy is mining so much coal that is unbelievable. In Illinois, the seams are 20 feet high. You got the same kind of situation just about. And in West Virginia, our miners are encountering most every day 30 and 35-inch high coal. Not as high as this desk that I'm sitting at. And they're spending the entire day mining that level of coal. Now, so the number of miners is much greater, and then all of a sudden, when we're displaced, we've got the impact that is off the chart. The market has got to be first. We've got the market. All of the other things that have been holding us back have been a bunch of what I would call super left-wing, shallow-thinking folks that just absolutely moved this country right into the position that it's in today. Do you think for a second, and I hate to be on my soapbox going on and on about this, but do you think for a second that Russia would have invaded Ukraine if the United States of America had remained and stayed on the course to be energy independent? Do you think that if we would have stayed strong, we would have the inflation levels that we have today? Do you think the debacle in Afghanistan or what's going on at our southern border and everything, do you think the actions of extreme left-wing thinking people that an agency can have power over everything, over elected officials and everybody, is right? And the Supreme Court stepped up and said, no way. And they did so because West Virginia led the way and initiated suit. And so from all that standpoint, I congratulate Patrick Morrissey and all of his great people and all the good stuff that they did. We supported and we cheered and we did everything we possibly could, but it is a great decision for the state of West Virginia, but even a better decision for all this country across all the land, because now maybe we can absolutely stop, the radical left from just coming up with what they per se want to do or they like. It just ignores logic and reason in lots of different ways. So Mark, I don't know of the immediate impact that it's going to have on our state's economy. Our state's doing awfully good. But with all that being said, I do know that it will have a profound impact on our nation, and we did it in West Virginia. West Virginia led the way. I couldn't be more happy.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Evan Bevins with Ogden Newspapers.
Thank you. Getting back to the end of the Guard mission, I was hoping you could elaborate a little bit on the timing of that, and then what the other guards, the Guard personnel, I think you said would be available for COVID support till September, what they'll be doing. Thank you.
General Hoyer, we haven't heard from you. You go on this one. Pass to General
All right,
Crane.
I'll help General Crane out here, Governor. As General Crane and the Governor pointed out, number one, they are both making sure that there's not a lapse in the service that we need to continue to support our COVID mission. As General Crane pointed out, the federal mission is ending, and the Governor, along with General Crane, made the decision that from the request of the task force that we need additional continued support available to us to work some of these logistics and other missions, not hospital specific missions, but the other backside missions. And that's what those guardsmen will be supporting. General Crane, I'll turn it over to you if I missed anything.
That's exactly correct. And as we said, we will be available to activate more if the Governor and the task force come together and say that they need more support back in the hospitals or wherever it may be. We'll be prepared to come back on duty and do the missions that are required to make sure that our citizens are taken care of as they need to be. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Evan. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, well, I didn't get to make many notes. It was a lot of stuff to go over today. I appreciate you bearing with me, a lot of different things, but I keep always circling back to just one thing. We lost 7 more great West Virginians. Don't forget them in your prayers. We have absolutely our nation's birthday, Independence Day on Monday. I want everybody to enjoy in every way that they possibly can. But in all that, I absolutely want just this. I want your prayers for an absolute hero beyond belief, Woody Williams. I want every single West Virginian to take a second at least and absolutely pause and offer up a prayer for this great man and his great family. He was absolutely a superstar beyond all comprehension. And so with all that, we've got a lot to be thankful for. We've absolutely got a lot to be thankful for. We're going to keep this state moving and keep this state moving in a great way. We know there's still folks out there that we can help, and there's still folks out there that are hurting. And so with all that being said, we're not going to quit. We're going to keep at it. And nevertheless, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much.